Hello, this is Mr. Collier, and today we're adding and subtracting fractions, including negative fractions. First, we're going to look at simplifying a few fractions, writing fractions in simplest form or lowest form. Here we have a positive fraction, it's 8 out of 14, and we can divide numerator and denominator by 2 here, and we get 4/7. So 8 out of 14 is the same as 4/7. And next we have negative 3 out of 6. First of all, negative 3 out of 6, like this, is the same as 3 out of negative 6, is the same as writing it like this. Okay, there's 3 ways to write it. So it's basically negative 3 divided by 6, but we can divide 3 and 6 by 3. I'll just write division by 3 here. And we have negative, and I can write the negative over here or on the top. It's negative 1 out of 2, or negative 1/2. Okay, so the whole thing here is negative. And the next one, we have 12 out of negative 36. Well, we can write the whole fraction as negative, right, because this is equivalent. And 12 and 36 are both divisible by 12. And if we divide by 12, we get 1/3. So that's negative 1/3. And the next one, we have negative 51 out of 17. So that's going to be negative. And this number here, 51, is divisible by 17. So I could divide by 17 and get 3 and 1. So 3 out of 1, which is actually just negative 3. Okay, negative 51 divided by 17 is negative 3. Alright, the next one here, we have a fraction like this. We'll have to do all the operations in the numerator and then do all the operations in the denominator, and then maybe simplify. So negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. And the denominator will have 10, which we can simplify to 2/5 if we divide them both by 2. Okay, next we're going to add the numerator here. So we have minus negative 6 is the same thing as plus 6, so that's going to be 2 in the numerator. In the denominator, we're going to have to do multiplication first. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15, and then minus 5 is going to give you 2 out of negative 20. Okay, so that's going to be negative, and we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 2 and get 1 out of 10. Okay, let's get into some actual adding now. And the first one, now adding and subtracting with negative fractions, the same thing as regular fractions. We have to add the numerators together if the denominators are the same, right? So if we have negative 2/3 plus 1/3, we add the numerators together, and that's negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so we'll have negative 1/3. Here we have the same denominators, so we can just add or subtract the numerators. So we're just doing negative 3 minus 2, which is negative 5/4. You can keep it like an improper fraction, or if you write it as a mixed number, it's negative 1 1/4. Okay, it's like negative 1.25. So there's 2 ways to write that answer, but you can leave it like this most of the time unless someone asks you differently. Now here in this fraction, we have minus a negative number. Okay, let me rewrite it like this. It's negative 3 minus negative 1 out of 8. You can write it like this. And when you subtract a negative number, it's the same as adding. So this is negative 3 plus 1 out of 8, which equals negative 4 out of 8. And that is just negative 1/2. Alright, in the next one, we have all sevenths. So it's just the same as negative 4 minus 3 plus 4 out of 7. Alright, so now in this case, though, well, actually, this is pretty easy. Let me go back. We could do it that way. Or if you look at right at the beginning, you can notice that we have negative 4/7, and we have a plus 4/7 over there. So they just give you 0. So your answer is actually negative 3/7. Simply negative 3/7. Okay, next we have a couple of mixed numbers. Now, there's a couple ways to figure this out, but with mixed numbers, one way to do it is you can always change them to improper fractions. So we have, just forget about the negative sign for now, and just remember this whole number here is negative. It's negative 2.5, right? So it's going to be negative. And let's change this to improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we have negative 5 out of 2. And here we have 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so this is 3 out of 2. So you just have negative 5 plus 3 out of 2. So negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2, and your denominator is 2, and that's just negative 1. Here we can do the same thing, but we don't have the same denominator. We can change that now, or we can change it later. Negative 3 times 4, or let's just look at this part of it and say the whole thing is negative. Negative 3 times 4 is 12, plus 3 is 5, so 15 quarters, plus 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so 5 halves. Now we need a common denominator. We can make this denominator into 4 by multiplying by 2. So we get negative 15 out of 4 plus 10 out of 4. Now we have the same denominator. We can just add the numerators together. Negative 15 plus 10 is negative 5. So we have negative 5 quarters. Alright, you can leave it like that, or you can write it as negative 1 1/4. Next, some more adding and subtracting with different denominators. So here we have 3 and 12. What is going to be the lowest common multiple here? Let's look at multiples of 4. 4 doesn't work, 8 doesn't work, 12 works. So let's make them both 12. And I'll multiply by 3, and I can get 12. I'll multiply by 4, and I'll get my common denominator to be 12. So it's going to be negative 4 out of 12 plus 9 out of 12. Then we can add the numerators together. We'll get positive 5. So 5/12 is the final answer right there. And this one, we have 8 and we have 2. Well, we can make this 2 into an 8 by multiplying by 4. And we'll get negative 3 out of 8 minus 4 out of 8. So that is the same as negative 3 minus 4 out of 8, which is negative 7/8. Alright, now we have 3 fractions here, and we can make them all into 12. Okay, we can make the 3 into 12 by multiplying by 4. We can make 6 into 12 by multiplying by 2, so we'll have all the denominators be 12 after this. So we'll have negative 2 out of 12 plus 8 out of 12 minus 5 out of 12. Okay, then we just add the numerators together, and we'll have negative 2 plus 8 minus 5 all out of 12, which equals negative 2 plus 8 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. And there you go. That's how you add and subtract fractions with negatives.